Hello everyone, this is a psychic prediction for the month of June. So this is actually an exciting month I've been waiting for. Actually, since last month I've been saying that it's going to be a very high vibrational month, and by that I mean that the frequency of the earth is looking to become a much higher frequency in June. It is currently May 27th as I am recording this video, and I will probably post this video tomorrow on May 28th of 2024. And this is for, again, June 2024 psychic predictions. So I'm going to be talking about the high vibration that's coming up here and how this will be affecting us, as well as some global battles going on around the world and an end of a cycle that I'm seeing starting in June coming up here. And also just the global powers around the world and how those will be influenced by this, as well as, of course, the monthly Bitcoin prediction, as always, and the good and bad things to do this month, as well as advice at the very end. So let's get into this. So last month I was talking about how last month was kind of like preparation for June. Well, last month as in May, which it currently is still now, but May was doing the gritty, the details, getting things grounded, getting things ready, kind of like building the foundation for the more explosive energy coming through for June. And so it's kind of felt like a retrograde to me in some sense, but I don't think it's been a retrograde month for May. I don't really know. I haven't been paying attention to astrology, but that's just kind of the sense that I get in the way that it's like kind of revising things and putting in the hard work to really get things down in a concrete way. Whereas what we're about to go into is a much higher frequency where things just kind of manifest naturally. And so I was seeing the third chakra of the body really shining out and shining out to, so the third chakra for me, if you're counting from the bottom, that's the chakra just below the heart chakra. And I was seeing that really shining out all the way to the last layer of the auric field, as if it was really just going through all the layers of the auric field and creating this solid connection between the actions, the things that you're doing in the world, coming from the third chakra and going through all the layers out to the layer that is connected to your higher self. So that is not something that I commonly see. That is actually a pretty big deal. And it might not play out in the news necessarily, but on a more internal, personal level, I'm seeing that being a pretty big deal. And I will get to the news in just a minute here. But yeah, let's first go to Bitcoin. So for Bitcoin, I'm seeing it actually peaking mid-month or so, and then starting to come down. And I'm seeing, again, I've been seeing it. I know I've been saying that it's going to come down, and it didn't really come down last month. But it does seem that it's going to come down towards the end of June. And I don't really want to guarantee any sort of numbers here, but it does seem to me that it could potentially get around as low as 54K potentially at a certain point in time. But again, I can't guarantee that with any specific numbers here. So again, if you like this content and you have not subscribed, you can always subscribe, give this video a thumbs up. I always appreciate that. And moving on with the world news. So the first thing that I was seeing was little explosions all over the place, but it wasn't like chaos erupting. It was kind of the opposite actually. It was when I tuned into this and asked what this is about, the sense that I was getting was that the US leaders are watching their plans blow up. And so these explosions represent their long term plans falling apart. And the fuel that's been fueling the battles between opposing sides also exploding in that explosion. So there's no more leverage, you could say, from not just the US, but also many of the Western countries. A lot of that leverage that they've had in the past to, put pressure on things seems to be fading away. And so there's a lot less tension, you could say, moving forward. I'm not saying that the tension will disappear in June. I'm just saying that the tension seems to be on its way down from June in particular. And I want to keep in mind this is not specifically about the two main battles that we're seeing in the world, but this is more so about many little battles just all over the world, just geopolitics in general. It just seems like the tensions are de-escalating. Now I do see the two main battles that you know about, that you hear about in the news. I don't see these going away in June, but I don't see them exploding out of control either. So back to the situation, the U.S. leaders kind of saw this coming, is what I was getting, and so it's not a surprise to them that their plans are not really following through. And so they actually anticipated that this would be somewhat of a failure for them, and so they've set it up the best they can, and they've learned to compromise with where they're at. I'm getting that there's going to be less actions taken in the future, but they've kind of recently taken a lot of action. And last month I talked about an explosion, and we'll explain more about what I think that was about. Well, I'll just say it has to do with a helicopter. But regardless, there's less of this force. That last month I was describing it as kind of their last lashing out, you could say, before they've kind of lost the battle, if that makes sense. So it's, in some sense, you could say the U.S. is reaching a checkmate within the global powers. I don't get the sense it's a total failure, though. It's more just like they're settling for what they have kind of predestined for themselves. They're trying to get a little bit more up higher in the ranks of global powers, but they didn't really get any further, so they're back where they were. In regards to that, I do see China having a lot more power into the future, but I don't see it as, like global war or anything like that people are talking about as a big potential. I don't see it being a world takeover or anything like that. I see it more as global networking and countries working with other countries to gain power in that way rather than outright domination. And so I see this for the case with China as well as corporations. And what I wrote down was international corporate conglomerate, which is, I looked up what the term was after I wrote it down, and it's generally just representing a large corporation that owns many other corporations. But the way that I was kind of seeing this in my mind was more as one big international corporation that just kind of runs everything. And maybe not everything, but you know what I mean, runs the majority of the world power. And many different countries are working through this. I was also getting many Muslim countries coming along and gaining more power, specifically next month in June. So the end result of this, to sum it up, is that there's less fuel going into the fire in June and kind of following June. There may be kind of like a buildup of tension before the explosion, and then it all kind of dissipates. But overall, it's a de-escalation overall by the end, I would say. But of course, the two main battles will continue on, is what I'm getting. Now, regarding the Muslim leader that died in a helicopter crash last month, which was basically kind of, you could say, an explosion. Last month I said that I saw the U.S. leader, let's just call him the U.S. leader so that I don't get in trouble, seeing or being happy about an explosion of some sort, and I wasn't sure if that was more literal or a metaphor, but you could kind of see it as both if you apply it to this helicopter crash. And I talk more about that on my Patreon page because I can't really talk too much about details here, but you can check that out for free for a free 7-day trial if you would like. But anyways, what I said last month was that for the U.S. leader, next month would be more difficult, that being June, the month that I'm talking about now, being more difficult. And I think it's because of what I've been saying, that it's kind of this last lashing out of trying to make things happen. And then I was saying that the next time that things will work out more for the U.S. leaders is around September, so it seems like there's kind of a long time where things aren't really going in their favor. So moving on, energetically, what I was seeing more on an individual level was people connecting more with their most outer layer of their auric field, which is connecting you to your higher self. And so this direct flow from the third chakra all the way out to that outer layer of the energy field is aligning what you do with your higher self. So the things that are not really so much in alignment with your higher self that you are doing will kind of no longer work. And this is due to the increase in the frequency of the earth, which, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I've been saying for a while now, since around 2020, there's been a rising in the frequency of the earth, and I see that continuing until around 2026 or so. Not that it's going to stop increasing, but that's where there's this big burst. And so June is a month in particular where that's happening, and we've been preparing for that from last month, as I've mentioned. So the earth frequency is shifting, and this month the power of intention is going to be very strong. So it's a good month to really focus on what you want, and I don't really mean that in the way of just creating intentions. I mean that more in the way of taking action, because the third chakra, representing action and what you do in the world, seems to be really lit up for me regarding the month of June. So you may also feel like you are on a mission of some sort, and this is because of the built-up energy that knows that it's time to explode. And that's kind of related to the many explosions all over the world that I was seeing earlier, but it's also, in a different context, it's about the energy that's built up, that's been building up, and that you've been kind of working and aligning in the right direction last month, or this month still, for June, it knows its time, basically. So you won't really be able to hold back your desire to push for more than what you normally would allow yourself. Like the things that you would allow yourself to receive, the things that you would allow yourself to have in life. You may be holding yourself back usually, but this month it's like you can't resist the urge to just let it all out. And that is a good thing. And that's kind of what we've been working on, more so last month, heading into this month. So that leads me to, what is June good for? So June is good for seeking things out, seeking the things that you really want in life. And I know that sounds cliche, and you could say, oh, well, that would just apply to every month all the time. And I would say, no, actually, there have been months where I said it was not a good month to seek things out, and it was a better month to hold back and wait. So keep that in mind. But this month, it does seem like a good month for seeking things out that you desire. Also, for finding your social network, that seems to be really important. And by social network, I don't mean online. I mean your social network. It could be online, I suppose, but it's more about finding the people that really resonate with you and your true ambitions and who you really are. So, also, spiritual courses were showing up and spiritual endeavors. And I was also getting a sense of travel, like maybe there's some sort of place you want to go visit that's kind of like a spiritual experience for you. Seems like June is a really good month for that, energetically, that is. And also, of course, following your passions kind of goes in line with everything I've already said. And that kind of sums it up. So, what is June bad for? June is bad for relying on other people. So, this is more of a month about being independent and being your own person. Also, I was getting, it's not good for trying to work as a team, and rather, it's better to be more selfishly ambitious and just do what you want. But I was also getting that, in some weird twist of fate, that being more selfish in an ambitious kind of way, being selfishly ambitious, it will actually allow you to work as a team. But if you're trying to kind of compensate for the rest of the team, it's not. That's just not where the energy is at for June, is what I'm getting. And also, you don't want to miss out on the excitement, because June seems to be a very high frequency month, and there seems to be lots of excitement. And so, staying at home and trying to be too humble or whatever, this doesn't seem like the month for that. This seems like the month to just go out and party if you want, or seek spiritual, fulfilling experiences in life and make things happen. So this is a exciting month. I'm seeing many new ideas and new things coming to light. Um, just just good vibes, it feels like, overall for this month. So that is very promising from what I have seen. I would leave you with the advice that came to me in meditation. When I asked for advice, what I got was, focus with unwavering attention on what you want. Nothing else needs your attention this month. And of course, that doesn't mean don't pay your bills and don't focus on anything besides what you want. Of course, take this with a grain of salt. I don't mean it too literally. But of course, focusing on what you truly want primarily will get you further this month than it will most months, is what I'm getting. So this is the month to do it. This is the month to take advantage of that type of selfish ambition is what I'm going to call it. So that's all I have for this month. Thank you for watching. Again, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Also, I have a Patreon page you can join for free for 1 week free trial. I do blind readings where I assign different names, 6-digit numbers, and I don't know who it is that I'm reading. I just pick a random 6-digit number, put it up on my computer screen, and write out a whole 3, 4, 5 paragraphs on this 6-digit number, and then I look up who it actually is, compare notes, and then I do a little bit more reading. At that point, it is no longer a blind reading. But anyways, the majority of it is a blind reading. I do those. I think that's probably my favorite thing to do, actually, because I learned the most from doing those than anything else that I do. But I also, of course, do readings on the news, current events, questions people have, just things that come up on my mind that I feel like are interesting to post on Patreon, as well as, of course, I do Bitcoin predictions in much more detail. Sometimes I will do the monthly prediction, and then on Patreon I will have much more detailed things that may sometimes even contradict the month prediction, but as time goes on, sometimes things change. And then, of course, I have hundreds of crypto coins that I never thought I would be doing so many crypto coin readings, but that's what people seem to be requesting the most. So I have tons and tons of crypto predictions for cryptos. I usually do them out to around 2033 or so, year 2033, because that seems to be the year round where most things kind of just fizzle out. So again, a free week if you want to join that. I don't care if you create new accounts and get extra free weeks. I don't care. Do whatever you want. If it's worth it to you, then do it. And you can also pay for the monthly subscription. It's as cheap as $5, and the most expensive one with all the crypto coins is $16, and then different tiers in between that, so you can choose what it is that you want to see. Besides for that, thank you for watching, and have a great day.